The jobs picture is brightening considerably, not that inaction in Washington is any help. Ahead of the November jobs report, which is coming Friday, Wall Street Journal's Neil Shah says the outlook for jobs is getting better, slowly but surely. Neil, good morning.
Good morning.
So, interesting, there really are four factors here that are improving the jobs the jobs prospect here. Talk about some of those.
Well, obviously, people have been focused on the fiscal cliff and what that could mean for next year in terms of tax hikes and spending cuts. But slowly but surely, one thing that you are seeing is the job market improving. It's been pretty steady. It's been disappointingly slow, frustrating, but it is happening. And as we move into next year, as long as the fiscal cliff gets averted, i.e. we don't go off of it, there are several reasons to be optimistic. One being the housing market. I think a big issue for this year has been the recovery of the housing market. About 30,000, almost 30,000 construction jobs have been added since May. And if you look at the chart, it's not a great year, but then in the last 4 months, you've actually seen this uptick. And you could have a lot more of those jobs.
Housing prices are up, construction jobs, that's one factor.
Yeah.
A couple other ones we mentioned, for instance, government job cuts, federal, state, and local, those are at least tapering off.
Yeah.
So that's a benefit.
It would be a bigger benefit to the economy if there were more government jobs, if there was more infrastructure spending. That kind of thing just creates jobs. That is probably unlikely, just given that we're so worried about the country's debt and deficit problems. But at least we can take comfort in the fact that government jobs at all levels, federal, local, state, it's not as much of a drag on the job market. To give you a sense, like 250,000 government jobs were lost last year. You don't have that this year. In fact, 20,000 have been added. So it's an example of how, as we go through the recovery process, some of these drags disappear, allowing for the job market to actually rebound, even though, of course, it's been.
And meanwhile, there are some other sectors that are getting some benefit. You got leisure and hospitality, manufacturing; those two are doing particularly well and may continue to.
Yeah, restaurants in particular have been fairly resilient in terms of hiring, and the leisure and hospitality sector has been a reliable contributor of jobs. That could increase even further. I mean, if the consumer is in a happier place next year and people are spending more, that part of the economy could get a boost. People haven't been spending a lot of late. Some of the latest figures have been down, but consumers are not in debt as much as they were in the past, and that bodes well for the future.
Okay, now actually two quick things. First of all, we've got the jobs report coming Friday.
Right.
It's going to be a particularly noisy report given this last month's storm, correct?
It is. Sandy is going to have a very big impact on that report. Some economists think that 100,000, 150,000 jobs job growth could be down by that amount simply because of Sandy. That's temporary.
It's temporary.
That stuff could come back. Right now, economists are thinking a sub 100,000 figure for job growth. I've talked to economists who are expecting 15,000. Economists might be kind of all over the place because this may be a difficult report to read for simply the fact that Sandy knocked the wind out of the Northeast and a lot of people lost their jobs as businesses went under, et cetera. So, I mean, yeah, it could be a noisy report to read. The underlying trends in the economy for weeks now, not just with this report, but for everything from production to consumer spending, it's hard to read the tea leaves in the economy right now when you have this huge Sandy impact.
Okay. Speaking of consumers, that's another maybe positive benefit. Consumer confidence has been high. You know, the jobs market isn't perfect. It's got a long way to go. A lot of long-term unemployed, but you know, given recent history, and it's been so terrible, at least this is progress. So
yeah, and some of these factors are connected. I mean, the housing market is doing better. Home prices are going up. You feel better if you feel like you have more cash in your wallet if the value of your home is going up. These things, along with the stock market, are kind of boosting how people feel. That at least is some, you know, it lights a match on the fire and potentially could lead to more spending next year.
Okay, Neil, thanks so much for joining us.